I'm Dustin Olson.
And I'm Nekol O'Brien, and this is our home. Okay, well 5 years ago, we were renting a house. We had $10,000 saved up to buy a house. Dustin was a roofer, and I was a stay-at-home mom.
And everything was going the way it needed to go. And
We had 4 children at the time. And life was just, honestly, seemed like we were just coasting and everything was good. And then one day we woke up and it was like a typical day, and Dusty went up to work and I went about my daily stuff, and then I got a phone call that Dusty had fallen off a roof. I knew he was working in an apartment building, so I didn't actually believe it. I thought they were tricking me. I did. And so our life actually took a complete unexpected turn, and we ended up living day-to-day life in the hospital, in and out of the hospital.
Nikki looked into it again because I wasn't looked into getting a habitat house again and what it took, because we had spent our savings. I was still, my accident was only about 8 months previous. I was still recuperating, had a long way to go, and we had spent our savings to live. So we found out about the information night at the Princess Alexander School, and we went to it and realized right away that we fit the criteria perfectly. And we just went forward from there, and eventually we got a letter saying we were accepted,
And we cried.
and we were ecstatic because it was such a burden lifted to know that we were gonna own a house despite all the trouble we were having that was a result of my accident.
It was an amazing knowledge to know that we were like going to be moving into our house. It was definitely a big, huge burden relieved off of us. We were at a point in our lives where we could not do any more with what we had. We were at a point in our lives where everything was suffering, emotionally, physically, financially, everything was just suffering. And it was amazing timing. It was
perfect timing because the people that owned the house we were renting were selling it at the end of January.
Oh yeah, there was that.
And we found out,
so we didn't know where we were going.
I believe at the beginning of January, we found out at the beginning of January that we were going to be moving into 123 Avenue T South. So we were like, when? Like February 1st. Perfect. So that means it took the stress of trying to go look for another rental, and which is hard with the size of our family. And not to mention we had been paying so much rent and struggling that things were falling behind, and you know the stress was just adding up steady, and for me, I was just very excited because I knew that we could start, building up again. And it was just taking off that stress of, okay, now we got a home. Now we can just start working on other things and not worry about that part no more, It's a huge burden lifted because as parents in a big family, uncertain about work, you got all these other things to worry about, the practical things, and then you're neglecting sometimes the psychological and emotional side of everything because you're just trying to get by. And getting the habitat house was a huge burden lifted period. donors and the volunteers and all the staff at Habitat for Humanity. Thank you. And you're all amazing, and every one of you is a part of something that's great and is incredibly helpful to the families of Habitat.
Beyond even what they recognize, I think, because home is everything for a family.